Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For those tuning in on these simulcasts on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad you all could be with us today. Going to bring in our friends over on IG so they can be a part of our chat. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon Live. Really excited about our next guest that's rejoining us today. We've been able to talk with her about her work that she's been able to do as a media host, but now she's back to talk to us about her role as an author. If you guys remember, it's hard to believe it's almost 2 years ago. I had Angela Anderson on the program to talk about her book, The Power of I Am. Now she's out with a supplement to it. It's called The Power of I Am, the workbook and journal. We're going to talk to Angela not only about the release of the new book, but what she hopes it's able to do for you as well. Angela, welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you so much, Cyrus. I am super duper excited. What other place to be than to come back here with you and talk about my new book?
Well, look, I'm excited for you. When you reached out to me and told me about the workbook and journal coming, I was excited about it. I ordered it that day. Mine will be here in a couple of days. Our audience can be able to get it here on the Amazon side. So you guys will see both the workbook and journal and the Amazon carousel, but I also did put Angela's first book there as well. Angela, can you believe it's been almost 2 years
I
since you
know,
released The
Cyrus.
Power of I Am?
I know. It has literally been almost 2 years. And one of the things, Cyrus, that I indicate, I was like, you know what? You asked, I listened, is here.
Mhm. Yeah. So let's go back then, because we mostly got to know you, myself included, Angela, got to know you for the work you've done with your literary cafe, you as a media host, you're a speaker. When did you realize that writing a book was going to be something you wanted to do, but also writing nonfiction was something you wanted to do?
Cyrus, let's just say, I guess, you hear it a lot where say people says, there's a book in you.
Mhm.
And a lot of times people will say, oh, you need to write a book. And I was like, you know what? I'm on the other end. I was like, I'm on the marketing side, the editing side, the teaching side. But again, probably about 9 years ago now, 10 years ago, the first book, The Power of I Am, came to me. And Cyrus, to be honest, I sat on it. I sat on it for years. And then finally, I was like, you know what? It's time. It's time to write this book. And even when I wrote the book, I knew that there was going to be a workbook that would follow. We didn't know it would be 2 years, but but I knew that there would be a workbook that will follow this book, and now it is here.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting for me, Angela. When I remember I was in Los Angeles when you reached out to me and asked me if we could talk. In 2014, I was doing some work with Cyrus Webb Presents there, and you told me about you writing a book. I was excited about it. I was surprised at the time when you told me it was going to be, a nonfiction book, because I think for anyone who watches the Literary Cafe, Angela, we see you interviewing a lot of fiction authors.
Yeah.
When you first announced you were going to be writing a book, did you hear a lot of people asking you if it was going to be fiction or nonfiction?
No, because what I did was I worked in silence, and then when it was time for me to let the world know that a book was coming, they saw it, and of course, I indicated that it was a nonfiction book, and
Mhm.
nonfiction. And not to say, you never say never, so I don't know what's in store, but right now, nonfiction is what have my heart, being able to minister and being able to reach others, and to touch their lives in ways and things that work for me, and that I feel like can work for them as well, to live a better life and an intentional life.
You are a person who is out front and center, front facing, as they call it in our industry, Angela. So people get to see you a lot. They see your excitement for the work that you do. They see your excitement for not only the interviews, but also the books you're able to feature. You say on the back of the workbook and journal, I noticed on the back, you call this book a mirror. How important has it
Mm.
been for you to be able to make sure that you are taking care of yourself first so that you can pour into others?
Oh my goodness, Cyrus, that is a great question. And I'm glad that you pointed it out because not only does it say that it's a mirror, it's also a movement and it's also a bold declaration. But let's start with why it's a mirror. Because again, when we think about, when we look into a mirror, what do we see? We see our reflection of ourselves, or we see the reflection of whatever that mirror is bouncing back off of. So I want people to know that when they work and do the work and go on their journey, that remember that this book is a mirror, and it's mirroring them and showing them the reflection of them, that it always goes back to them, of being intentional about, what it is that they need to do to live their best life.
In a world that is so competitive, though, Angela, especially in the media industry that we're in, how have the words that you speak to yourself, how they help you to keep the right attitude about
Mhm.
your work, but also to keep your optimism?
Oh my goodness, Cyrus, for me, it is literally a daily journey. It's a daily journey. And sometimes, believe it or not, Cyrus, I have to go back and pick up the book, The Power of I Am, 21 Days of Affirming You, just to remind myself. Literally, sometimes I'll read a day and I'm like, ooh, that's good. I needed that today.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Cyrus, I'm a firm believer of being a first partaker. So these are just not just principles and things that I'm teaching others. I live by these things as well, and I do it on a daily basis.
Yeah. So even with the title, The Power of I Am, I think it goes to a bigger picture here for all of our audience, Angela, and that is the importance of our own worth. Unfortunately, we live in the world where our own personal worth and value is not always appreciated. When did you first realize the importance of affirming yourself, even if other people didn't?
Mm, Cyrus, to be honest with you, it goes way back. It goes way back. I've always, from time past, even before I knew that I was going to write this book, I ended up learning the power of words, the
Mhm.
power of what you say about you, the power of what you hear, what you see, and how that can change the trajectory of your everyday lives. And it's just something as simple of, being intentional about being positive, being intentional about saying positive things about myself.
Mhm.
And not only that, Cyrus, you feel better. With all of the negativity things that are going on in the world today, even in the world then, again, just knowing that the power of my words can help shape and mold my day. Sometimes, Cyrus, I'll tell people, I'll say, you know what? You have the authority to kind of direct how your day is going. I
Mhm.
know we hear that saying a lot, that, when you're given lemons, make lemonade. There is some truth to that, or what have you. What is it that you're going to do with that news that you receive? And that's
Yeah.
not to say that every day is like hunky dory, but I choose how I'm going to show up for that part of my day.
Yeah, I love that. I want to give some shout outs, Angela, for those joining us on IG. Hello to you, the crazy Kirk girl. Good to be to see you. One truly me one. Good to be to see you. I think it's pronounced Monobiz. You can correct me on that if I'm saying it incorrectly. Thank you for joining us over there on IG. Hello to you. I think it's pronounced Daya, maybe. Or Daya. Hello to you over there on Facebook. Good to be to see you. And I see you guys over there on YouTube as well. If you guys have any questions for Angela, make sure you guys do put those in the chat. I'll be monitoring those. Let's go back though to 2014 though,
Okay.
Angela, and the release of The Power of I Am, because I
Uh-huh.
think for those of us who got to know you just mainly for the media space, what was that like for you? You were used to interviewing authors and helping them promote their own books. What was it like for you then to be promoting your own book?
Oh my goodness, Cyrus. And it's funny that you asked that question, because my daughter, even yesterday, she was saying the same thing. I was sharing with her. I was like, I'm going to be on Cyrus again. And she was like, Mom, how is that? You on the flip side of it, you are now being interviewed, or what have you. And so, Cyrus, I just have to take it all in. Even today, being release day of the workbook in the journal. Oh my goodness. Cyrus, last night, and I know, you are an author as well. I literally had butterflies like yesterday, just waiting and anticipating for today to come. So I'm just taking each day in stride. And I did the same thing back in 2014,
Mhm.
was just to take it, just to breathe first and to
Yeah.
take it all in. It's exciting. It really is.
Mm. So with the workbook and journal out now officially for our audience to be able to get it here, I'm going to highlight it again for them on the Amazon side. For those of you guys who are joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, there's an Amazon link that will bring you guys over to be able to get it. For you guys joining us on Instagram, I'll be putting it in the chat and also for the in my stories as well. So I want to talk about how Angela has evolved since 2014 because you released the book in 2014. Now you have the workbook and a journal. How has it been for you, Angela, to look at your own evolution and how you've been able to do the work and see the result of that work?
Cyrus, oh my goodness, I have definitely seen growth from 2014 to now. I'm sorry, not 2024 to 2026. I have definitely seen growth. And Cyrus, one of the things in putting this workbook and journal together. Oh my goodness, Cyrus, I was literally, when there were certain, I am statements that I provide for them, when there were certain things that I put into the workbook as I poured into it, I got like emotional, like I was like, wow, when individuals read this, oh my goodness, I am just so excited for people to actually get their hands on it and Cyrus to do the work. And that leads me into, I told you that I would, they would hear it here first with Conversations Live with Cyrus, is that there is going to be a 21-day challenge that will go along with this workbook and journal. And so I wanted to give you the exclusive of that to letting them know it won't be 2 years. In the next couple of weeks, stay tuned. You will be hearing more information how you can register for the 21-day challenge that will accompany the workbook and journal.
Love that. So I want to go back and read something you wrote in The Power of I Am, the first book, Angela, because I thought it was interesting when I was prepping for this segment today. You say this in the message, A Word from Angela. Did you know that the best way to get things done, reach your goals, succeed, and affirm yourself is to begin?
It's to
You have
begin.
to start somewhere. It all starts with making a conscious decision to begin. I want to
Mhm.
talk about that because,
Mhm.
we all have heard the saying, actions speak louder than words. There are a lot of people doing a lot of talking about what they're going to do, who they want to be, and all of this, what they want to have. But their actions don't show that. How important has that been for you as you set goals for yourself, Angela, to not only to be able to have that goal, but also to have the plan to get there? And what do you want our audience to know about that?
Cyrus, that is very important because I even think about when I started working on the original book,
Mhm.
as well as when I started working on the workbook and journal. The first thing you need to do is literally begin, and you will not understand that feeling like once you get started. Oh my goodness, Cyrus, it's like a fuel to this engine. The more that you do, I know for me, like when I actually started,
Mhm.
it gave me the fuel to go a little bit further and to go a
Mm.
little bit further and to go a little bit further. And again, write it out. And you can't, that saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
So when you get started, take it one step at a time, take it one day at a time. Set goals and say, okay, today I'm going to do this. I know when I was working on the workbook in the journal, I knew that there were some things that I was going to input in the workbook and journal that was not included in the original book. So I
Mhm.
had to take the step. The first thing I had to do was to say, okay, I need to go back to the original book, and I actually need to provide to the people actual I am statements. And so,
Mm.
Cyrus, I want you to know that each one of those I am statements, they were carefully hand picked. Like I didn't just put a I am statement with a quote or whatever. Each day, I made sure that that quote and that I am statement that they coincided and they were a great collaboration. And then I had to be able to put together a program that they will be able to do it and to do it simplified, Cyrus, so
Mm.
that it wasn't complicated. That literally they could do this in about 5 or 10 minutes in the mornings or in the evenings or whenever they decide to work through the workbook and journal. So I was intentional about that. But it all started with Cyrus. I had to begin. I had to start.
Yeah. Dana Theory says, yep, take the first step. And I think that
Mhm.
first step can be the scariest
Yeah.
for a lot of people. And it ties into something else that's in the first book. And as I mentioned, my workbook and journal will be coming this weekend. So I'm curious about seeing how we can expound on this, Angela, because one of the things you say is that you can do it and don't let anyone tell you different. That's in the first book. I want to talk about that and also talk about negative self talk because
Hmm.
I think both can be equally damaging and devastating to us.
Yeah.
How have you combated that in your own life, Angela? And what advice then would you have for our audience about how they can not let what others say deter them, but also not let themselves deter themselves as well?
And Cyrus, that was one of those things where you know how people say, "I know what I'm talking about. I know
Yeah,
it from experience."
yeah.
Again, so that was one of those things that was like trial and error, been there, done that. And so even today, I still sometimes, if I kind of see that I'm going down that road, I have to quickly turn that around.
Mm,
And the way that I do that is I change the way that I am speaking about a certain thing, or I change the way that I'm looking at a certain thing. It's all about perspective, or
yeah,
what have you. And again, guys, let's be honest, we're human. So that's not to say that, that things won't happen or that the other, the other shoe won't drop or what have you. But when it does, how are you handling it? What are you saying about the situation? Because again, going back to what we said before, words of power. So not only are we not allowing other people to say negative things or to speak negativity in our lives, don't do it to yourself, because sometimes it's easy to do that for your own, your own self as well. And so
yeah.
I just be intentional about it, Cyrus.
Yeah, and it's such an important thing. So for yourself, leading into today, now that the workbook and journal is out, talk to us about what it's been like for you to see the love coming back at you because you've been such a supporter of others and their books, Angela. What has it been like for you to see other people having that love and support for you?
Cyrus, let's be honest. I was having a conversation with some very dear people to me on last night, and we were actually texting back and forth. And they were kind of, saying some things about, what they're going to be doing to help, get the book out there, or what have you. And I was like, ladies, don't make me cry. I mean, literally, Cyrus, when I see the outpouring from others, from readers, from authors, from other influencers, sharing my book, again, it's humbling, it's heartfelt. I am so grateful and thankful, even to you, Cyrus. Again, it's just one of those feelings that it's like, wow, it literally, Cyrus, is almost like a digital warm hug. And I'm saying
Mhm.
digital because a lot of people have been sharing online about my book, and I know some people have been sharing word of mouth. But again, I feel the love. So if I could just hug myself right now for all of you who have shared the book, told somebody about the book. Oh my goodness, it's just a warm hug.
Yeah. So we've been talking about it's a workbook and journal. Talk to us about
Mhm.
how you hope the journal part helps us to kind of flush out for ourselves where there's work to be done or affirmations for ourselves, Angela.
I love that, Cyrus, because the journaling part comes in. They'll see once they get their book. In the back of the book, there are lots of notes pages. So even after you go through your 21-day journey, or even on your daily journey that you're going through the book, I have a section for you in the back of the book to journal. And when you journal, I mean, you may want to write out your thoughts. You may want to write out a prayer. You may want to write out some goals. Whatever it is that you want to journal about your journey going through the 21 days of affirming you, you're able to do that in the journaling section. And then where the workbook part comes in, Cyrus, the book is actually broken down into 3 steps as far as what the prompts are.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I did inside the book, Cyrus, is we kind of give them instructions. You'll see it says inside each day's page. And I give them the first step. It'll tell them about the I am statement and what to do with that. The second is it'll say your turn. thought of the day. And so, just like in the first book where you had a thought of the day, that thought of the day is here. But now is your time to reflect on that, to take notes, to come up with your own thought for the day. And then, Cyrus, this is the one that really keens in with the book. It's the power of I am, but guess what? You get to create your own I am statement. So not only do you have the I am statements that I provided for you, but you're able to create your own I am statements. And then, Cyrus, there's a part for them to do a plan of action. And for that plan of action, I tell them, Cyrus, that affirmations are powerful, but pairing them with action creates transformation. And so they'll have a portion to do that. And then the fifth thing that they do, Cyrus, is notes. They can just take all the notes that they want in this book. And so that's how they get the workbook and journal combined into one.
Love it. And again, it's available right now here on Amazon. I'm going to highlight it again for you guys joining us on the Amazon side. Also, remember, you can get the first book there as well. For you guys joining us again on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, you'll find the link that is with this broadcast. That way you can be able to order your copy. Again, for those joining us on X, you'll see it in the comment section. For those joining us on IG, I'll put it in our story. Again, everyone, Angela Anderson has been our guest. Again, make sure you guys are supporting not only her new book, The Power of I Am, the workbook and journal, but also the work she does with the Literary Cafe. Angela, congratulations to you again on the new release. How can our viewers stay connected with you?
Thank you so much, Cyrus. Yes, they can go to my website, angelaandersonpresents.org. They can also follow me on social media. Cyrus, I'm on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram as Angela Anderson Presents. And they can subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, Angela Anderson YouTube.
All right. Angela, congratulations to you. So proud and happy for you and looking forward to the next chat together.
Thank you so much, Cyrus.
Welcome. We thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, y'all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.